Hi there, fridaywitch here. In this video, we're going to talk about taking units and weapons into New Genesis and what my opinions on the topic are. Stay tuned and we'll jump right in. Before we start, a disclaimer and a quick note on why you may or may not want to prep gear in advance. This is data that is pulled from a wiki based off of closed beta tests done mostly in Japan. It's all subject to changes, whether it's nerfs or buffs or anything else. Prepping gear isn't needed as New Genesis is a standalone game, and I did just fine in the closed beta when we weren't able to bring gear over. The main reason I feel to do this is so you don't have to spend any meseta or any other resources in New Genesis to buy and prep your lower end gear, allowing you to focus those resources on higher end gear later on. Also, it's not like there's anything else to do in PSO2 right now that at least has my interest. So with that being said, let's talk about gear and how it moves over from PSO2 to New Genesis. And then we'll talk about how I think we should be handling this and why. So, 1 to 6 star gear moves over to New Genesis as 1 star gear. 7 to 12 will be 2 star, 13 to 14 will be 3 star, and 15 star gear will become 4 star gear in New Genesis. In the 2-day long beta, doing just basic client orders already had me high enough for 2 star gear, and honestly it didn't take me long before I was using 3 star gear. I don't think it's worth putting forth much effort into making gear for these lower levels. The only thing that's going to set this low level gear apart from New Genesis gear is going to be the grind on it, also known as the enhancement level. Here we see that if your gear is the max grind level, it will move over to New Genesis at max grind. So plus 10 units in PSO2 will come over as plus 40 in New Genesis. Same with plus 35 weapons will move over in plus 40. Now, if you don't have it up to max, it's gonna come over as 0, so please be aware. This is huge though. That's a lot of meseta you don't have to spend max grinding gear in New Genesis, and this drastically increases the stats. Also, it's really easy to do in PSO2. Considering how fast we burn through 1 and 2 star gear, we don't want to drop a ton of time, effort, and money into them. So just get random 6 and 12 star weapons and 6 and 12 star units, and just make sure that they have a max grind. I wouldn't worry too much about the augments since you're going to burn through them real quick. As far as 3 and 4 star gear is concerned, we may want to pay more attention to augments, but you don't need to go hard in the paint or anything. The augments aren't that great when they transfer over to New Genesis. Here's the list of a few augments that are relatively cheap and easy that I can recommend. If you want a full list, there is a link in the description below. Another thing to note is you can't multi-weapon or otherwise modify the PSO2 gear when you bring it into New Genesis, so you may end up ditching your weapon anyway. The New Genesis augments are much stronger also. Just as an example, Might 2 in New Genesis is more powerful than Might 6 or Grand Might from PSO2. So New Genesis gear may be better in the end, and it's likely. Since we don't know for sure what's going to make the most impact, and we don't know what the difficult content is and how to specifically prepare for it, we're not entirely sure how to focus your augments. You can only either guess, or cater to your preferences, or alternately, you can do what I'm gonna do. Just get a bunch of good augments that are cheap and easy to get on, get them like 6 of them or something. Don't spend too much time or too much effort. Because if you end up running into an issue in New Genesis where you then realize you need a specific something, you can just go back to PSO2 and then spend the big bucks on the gear and reaffix your augments in a more focused manner. So what is Friday going to do in the grand scheme? Well, Friday is going to get some cheap 6 and 12 star gear, just max grind it and call it a day. Then she's going to take her already fixed up 13 star units and just take them as they are. They're super good. Then I'm going to get some 14 star weapons and just make sure they have a max grind and a good bunch of augments on them. I'm not going to spend too much money on them. And then I'm going to take a look at all of my 15 star weapons, find the ones that have the potentials that I like, and then make sure they're augmented really well and then bring them over. I'm not worried too much about the specifics, Because honestly, I'm gonna eventually want a multi-weapon, and I'll be ditching the PSO2 weapons because of that anyways. I really want my Knuckle Wand. If you don't already have a nice set of 13-star units, it's not a big deal. Just grab the novels from the Rising Weapons Badge 5 shop, or grab the Chevelles that drop from all the rainbow keys they've given us. Give those a max grind and you'll be set for units. So for 15-star weapons, if you have a lot of options, you should look at this list here. It's also linked in the description. And find which potential you like the best and bring that weapon over. If you don't have a lot of options, you don't have many 15s or any 15s at all, then just grab novels from the Rising Weapons Badge 5 shop, or whatever other random 15 you happen to have. Even collection folder's fine. Just make sure that they're grinded up to 35, and maybe upslot it and throw a few augments on it, but don't feel like you need to drop a ton of meseta. I would suggest you save that meseta for later, just in case you realize the weapon's not good enough, because at that point, you'll know what the weapon is lacking, and you can then focus your augments accordingly. Did you need more defense? Is the low-end damage too low? Do you need more HP? Like, again, just remember, you can always go back to PSO2 and re-affix all of your augments. Hopefully, you found this helpful, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a bunch for watching. Don't be afraid to hit subscribe or follow me on Twitch. But most importantly, take care and be safe.